What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Faraday Future. I want to go over some of the data points, what's been really affecting it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So it has been quite some time since I've done a Faraday video, because my last videos, I was somewhat skeptical on the company itself. I said my piece, and ultimately I said, hey, they need to execute up until for their sub brand, and I was kind of just watching and waiting just to see if they were going to kind of hit the mark. Overall though, I do gotta admit that they have been doing relatively well. So over the last 1 month, it is up 27.27%. Over the last 6 months though, still negative, but once it gets over this kind of bump right here, then yeah, it's doing fairly well in comparison to a lot of other EVs. So Faraday definitely have stepped up their marketing. I gotta give them that, because they did, looks like they got Mariah Carey, who is clearly going to bring them a lot of visibility. So at the end of the day, Mariah Carey has 21 million followers just on Twitter alone. So yeah, I think Faraday's getting their name out there. Conveniently, they actually do have a pretty big event coming up, it looks like in a couple days on the 29th. I did have one individual from Faraday reach out to me, so I don't know if they're trying to get a lot of influencers to this, but I didn't really answer, only because given the circumstances and my history with Faraday, I feel like it wouldn't be really right for me to kind of go there given my general bearish nature. And honestly, I wouldn't say I'm bearish. I'm always cautiously optimistic with any and every stock that I look at. But a couple of things that is usually a red flag for me is just when management kind of don't live up to their expectation. They kind of fluff things up a little bit. And as well, one thing that the market does typically punish quite significantly, in fact, is companies that rely on convertible products. This company, Faraday, just recently did another one. I believe it was on March the 21st, so roughly 1 month ago. And honestly, yeah, it caused a little bit of a dip, but market didn't seem to care. So I think right now you are having Faraday for face value being as seen as like a value play. This is why, again, over the last 1 month, it is doing relatively well. So I think at the end of the day, a lot of speculation, but they need to hit a home run on their sub brand, get it off the ground. Clearly, there's a lot of things kind of in the works. I've seen, I believe, even YT doing videos saying that they're already taking tentative orders. So yeah, I think they clearly have some level of desire in the broader market, but moral of the story again is the fact that they really need to this is like their do or die moment. They need to get off the ground, and then yeah, they should do fairly well. Of course, a sub brand might be very beneficial given the circumstances in the broader market. What was also just announced on Friday was that kind of some tentative deal between China and the States. And in theory, given where Faraday does get a lot of their kind of parts from, it is very beneficial. So States is doing 30% against China, and China is doing 10% against the States. Very beneficial. Oddly enough, Faraday did go down on Friday, 4.55%. I would have anticipated that it would have went up significantly because of that news, but EVs were just getting punished on Friday, unfortunately. But going over some of the data points. So right now, 24.93% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 23.08 million shares. On Friday, shorts did increase 286,000 shares. Looking at some of the options, you're seeing still relatively low volume for the options. Common stock though, I do gotta admit that it's definitely stepped up. So you're seeing a good amount of volume lately. So ranging from, it looks like 8 or I guess 6 to 23 million. So good to see. Of course, as I always say as a disclaimer, every time a company has these type of convertible debt products and you see quick spikes up in the volume, such as for instance June the 12th, that could potentially be dilution. But again, I'm not here to kind of pop the bubble or do anything. You guys do whatever the hell floats your boat. Buy it, sell it. I'm not here to influence you. just bringing up my 2 cents. And maybe for my follow-up video, maybe I'll do in a week or so, I'll dive deep into a little bit more of their news, because they have been putting out quite a lot of news. Faraday's always done a lot of these type of fluff things, so maybe I'll go through a lot of these just to see what is actually good, what isn't. And on a side note, this is one thing that kind of does bother me, obviously not just dedicated to Faraday, but every time companies do PR blitzes, I feel like there is ulterior motives behind it, because even looking here, June the 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 22nd, 23rd, 5th, and then on the 26th. So at the end, or I guess the 27th. So yeah, definitely this one is a little bit more of a red flag. But again, I'm not here to get anything or do anything. But based on the options, you are seeing a consensus. The bulls are feeling that it'll be roughly around that $1.50 to $2 range in the foreseeable future. So a lot of upside given the circumstances. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub $1.50. So again, factoring all that in, there's a little bit more upside anticipated. As you can kind of see, there hasn't been all that much in transactions during the actual trading day. So these are all the transactions that did occur on the secondary market above $100,000. So during the trading day, you don't see any. After hours, there was quite a lot, and that is because of rebalancing. So institutions are actually buying Faraday, and that's because Q2 is concluding, so institutions are starting to rebalance. So definitely good to see as far as Faraday, and at the same time, this is why it did go up 4.07% after hours on Friday, because of that level of buying. Aside from all that though, with it at 147, for instance, if you're looking at day trading, swing trading, it is currently trading between this R3 and this R2. So $1.43 is a strong support, because clearly it did bounce off of that on Friday. Flip side, $1.56 is going to be the next strong target / resistance, and similarly kind of bounced off of that general area. Again, I always like to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly, and in all honesty, Faraday, in comparison to a lot of other growth stocks, is actually doing phenomenal. So most other growth stocks are trading between this R1 and the pivot. Crappy ones are trading between kind of this S1 and this S2. So Faraday in all in all is doing rather well. So yeah, let me know your general thoughts on Faraday. Is there anything that I did miss that was like substantial that you must know type of news, or do I have the general kind of thoughts on what Faraday's been going through? Clearly, like I said, the market is rather optimistic towards Faraday. Just you can see that there is still some level of hesitation, but again, if they hit their sub brand and everything goes according to plan, then yeah, you'll definitely see Faraday really break out, possibly even enough to roughly around that 2 to 250. So let me know your thoughts on Faraday. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon and give buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.